We're in the book of John, but the Gospels are set up a little different from each other. Matthew is like a portrait. It's stately and regal. Have you ever seen like a king's portrait? It's presenting Christ as king. It goes through the genealogies and shows that he is the king of the Jews. And that's declaring his sovereignty. Matthew wrote with the Jews in mind, and that's why he wrote it kind of like a portrait. The book of Mark is like a video. It's fast-paced. It's my favorite gospel because it's fast-paced. It's moving in action. It presents Christ as the servant. And this is declaring his ministry, and Mark wrote with the Romans in mind. The book of Luke is kind of like a scrapbook. How many of you have ever seen a scrapbook or have ever done a scrapbook? It's pictures of his life. It's very personal. And it presents Christ as the man. That's declaring his humanity. And Luke wrote with the Greeks in mind. And then the book of John, where we're at today, is like a photographic study. It's pictures, but with a purpose. It's presenting Christ as God, and it's declaring his deity. John presents Christ to the world. In the beginning, God so loved the world. We find that in John. John omits the genealogy of Christ, his temptation in the wilderness and the agony in the garden, because I believe none of these would be sticking with his theme in presenting Christ as God. Rather, John takes us straight up to the throne and right back to the beginning. John 1:1 says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not." John is taking us back and showing us that Jesus Christ, the Word, is God. And he was in the beginning. He was. Genesis 1:26 says, "And God said, let us make man in our image. In the image of God created he them." Let us make man in our image after our likeness, right? Jesus was in the beginning, and Jesus is God.